You are watching Business Heroine TV for the entrepreneur who says she will and does. Join the Business Heroine community today at businessheroinemagazine.com. And now, tune into the show.
Hi, I'm Ann Perry, founder of Business Heroine and your host today. Today, we are going to be talking about love. And it is my honor to introduce to you our very special guest expert, Gemini Ferrie. So Gemini has a fascinating story. Welcome, Gemini.
Hello.
So Gemini went from the worst relationship of her life to the best one ever, in which she no longer had to compromise herself, play games, or give up who she is. And since then, she began working with women who still find themselves on the other side, struggling to have what they want and deserve in love. So now Gemini has attracted her dream relationship, and her mission is to help you find yours. In her private practice, to show women how to heal the places inside that get in the way of attracting, identifying, and enjoying a healthy, vibrant relationship. She's a graduate of the Spiritual Psychology Master's Program at the University of Santa Monica, and she has a private practice in Los Angeles, California, and sees clients all over the world via Skype. So I am super excited to dive into this topic. Welcome, Gemini, and thank you for joining us.
Thank you. Thank you so much for inviting me to come and have a chat with you today.
Yeah. So, okay, as Business Heroine, this is a question that I'm always curious about. I want to hear about your career. It's you basically created an entire career around your own personal journey, these struggles you went through and overcame and, found solutions to that you can help others with. So tell us your story, how you inventing a career around your personal journey.
It's a really amazing question, and I love talking about this. Well, I'll start from the very beginning. Once upon a time, I was born into a family that of women who really had a very disempowering, and a lot of them actually still do have a very disempowering relationship to men. So I grew up watching my mom, my aunties, every woman in my family, my cousins go from marriage to divorce a few times even. And so I really made up this idea in my head that, okay, that's how it works. So love doesn't really exist, and it always ends up in failure. So I was prepared in a way for failure in love. And in fact, I have a very incredible story about me and my journey, in that when I was about 18, I went to live with my father across the country. I had never met him before. And 6 months later, his wife asked me to take a DNA test to see if I was really his daughter. And that completely broke my heart, because growing up, I knew that I had a dad, but I hadn't met him before, and I talked to him a couple of times. And so finally, his wife convinced me, and I thought, you know what? I want to know. I want to know if this person's really my father. So we took the test, and unfortunately, it came out negative, that I wasn't his daughter. And so then later, I decided to confront my mom about it in a very compassionate way, because I realized, wow, if she had to this man about being pregnant with me, with him, where is that disconnect? How disconnected is she really from herself still? And so after I confronted her about it, she admitted to me with guilt and with shame that he wasn't my father, and that she was so in love with him that she decided to lie to him as a way to try to keep him with her.
Wow.
But did it work? No, It didn't work. And I happened to be on the bad end of that lie, of that dishonesty.
Yeah.
And really of that deep disconnect inside of her. And so then I found myself having to move back to Los Angeles from the East Coast, totally alone, confused, so heartbroken. And so that was that. And then after that, I just got onto this journey of just dating and always trying to turn every single man into the one.
Mm.
And so that really blinded me from being able to be present to see who the person really was and how I really felt about them.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember I was dating somebody for a couple of years and they asked me to marry him. And I said, sure. And what was going on inside of me was, oh my goodness, if I don't say yes, we're going to break up.
Wow.
And so I thought, I'll just say yes and I'll just fall in love later.
Wow.
So the day of my wedding was one of the most miserable days of my life because I knew that I was making a mistake, but I still tried to convince myself that marriage was going to fix everything, which is something that I hear a lot of women say. Oh, I'll just have a baby and that'll fix it. Oh, we'll just buy a house. We'll just go on vacation. We'll just get a joint bank account and that'll fix everything. And it doesn't. So about 5 years after I got married, I realized I am so miserable. I have to get out of this. And so I got into another relationship immediately, which turned out to be the worst relationship of my life because in that relationship, I really projected all of my disconnect to my own self-worth. And I ended up leaving that relationship after a month because it became very abusive emotionally and mentally. And he was very, very mean. And the reason why I put myself in that situation was because I desperately needed him, wanted him to be the one, but he wasn't. And I finally admitted that to myself. And I remember coming to this place inside where I realized, oh no, what if love was just this thing that I made up so that I could feel better about myself, but it doesn't really exist. And I believed that. And I thought, okay, love doesn't exist. And I just have to deal with living a loveless life like all of my family members. And it was a very sad day. And I remember crying for a really, really long time and just holding myself in front of the mirror, just coming to this really difficult truth. And so I decided to just work on myself and get to the bottom of how I had contributed to all of these failed relationships. And I realized, what's the point of dating if love doesn't really exist? I'm just going to be with myself forever, just be single for the rest of my life. And I really believe that. So 4 months after I left this relationship, I got to a place inside where I felt like, okay, maybe love exists, maybe it doesn't exist, but I don't need it. I have myself, and if I find love, great, but I'm not going to look for it anymore. And 3 days later, I met the man of my dreams.
Wow. That's amazing.
Yeah. And now we're engaged, by the way. We're very excited. And he literally is the man of my dreams and so much more than I had ever imagined I deserved.
Wow.
And so after so long of being with him, I started to realize how many women are still struggling on the other side, completely confused. And I realized that I figured out a few things about it and that I could help some women. And so considering my past and how I was the product of incredible lack of worth and that I had gotten myself to a place of having my dream relationship, I thought, if I can do it, anybody could do it. Anybody could do it. Wow. And so because I know what it's like to feel so heartbroken and just so at like the end of one's rope around love and this desperation of needing love and not having it and not knowing how to get it, because I know so well that space. I can relate to so many women that come to me hopeless, literally hopeless. And I love watching them go from that hopelessness to a deep knowing that if it hasn't happened for them, it will.
Wow. That story is really inspiring, and there's so many nuggets of wisdom in there. One of them that I heard that is fascinating to me is it's kind of like the moment when it all changed, it was right after you just surrendered.
Yes.
And it was a little different than the resignment that was months before, which is like, screw this, love doesn't exist, I hate everything, or whatever. It wasn't that place. It was just, I surrender. And then along came this man of your dreams. That's fascinating. And the other piece that's fascinating to me, and this is like a conversation, if I could just have a dream conversation, like go out for a beer and talk about something and not be bored for hours, is about how you took deep, extreme pain, a challenge in your life, and you figured out what you did differently that actually made it different, that transformed the situation. And now you're taking that wisdom and you are offering that to others. And now your whole livelihood is you sharing the wisdom that you gained by just going along the journey that you had. It's like being you, and you have a career now from that, and you're changing lives and you're making a difference. And that's so inspiring to me.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Women are literally saving themselves years, if not decades, from being able to work through their disconnect to their own self-worth.
Right.
I mean, that is the thing that makes all the difference in the world.
Yeah.
And it's so simple. And the thing is that a lot of women think that it's going to take years and years and years for them to figure out and get to the bottom of why their relationships aren't working. But oftentimes I find that it really only takes months.
Okay, and I want to talk to you more about love and the women you work with and how you work with them and all of that. But the burning question in my mind right now is more business oriented, and then I want to jump back into love. So the business heroines out there who are listening to this conversation, what advice do you have for them to, as far as creating a career around your own challenges, passions, talents, just like the unique path that you're on? What advice do you have for somebody who wants to create a career around their own journey?
I love the question because this is a question that everybody has before they're able to really make a career that it's about service through their own experience.
Yeah.
So what I can say is that usually, I can say most of the time, if not all of the time, someone's life work, someone's career is kind of hiding underneath their unresolved pain, their unresolved patterns, like the biggest ones, the ones that most people don't want to face because they're afraid. But underneath that, working through that, on the other side of that is that clear path of what it is that you're supposed to be doing with your life and what kinds of people you're supposed to be uplifting into their next level of being. But the thing is that you have to work through it first. Whatever it is that's the most challenging for you, you must work through it first, and you must get support and mentorship, because it will save you so much time. And so doing that will give you the strength, the clarity, the power, the inner guidance, the inner knowing of how to move forward in your service.
Yeah.
And it really comes from that inner work. There's just no way around it.
Yeah. It's so true. And the piece about support and mentorship is so important. And, we're always evolving and growing, and there's always more to work through on various areas of our life. So if you're in of despair of whatever the situation you're in right now, that doesn't mean you have to go and invent a career around it. There might be something else, another area of your life that you've learned some like deep, profound wisdom, and that might be where you start. But who knows where it evolves. But I love what you're saying, because it just creates a different spin on the challenges that we go through, and saying, maybe this is actually a blessing in disguise. Maybe this is, who knows what the bigger path is for me, and this is a learning, and this could be propelling me into something amazing. Like if you hadn't gone through all all of these women's lives who you touch would not have the opportunity to be transformed. So yeah, thank you for that. That's awesome.
You're welcome. You're
Yeah.
welcome. And having a mentor as we heal, as we grow, as we move through these rites of passage of turning our greatest pain into our greatest joy and empowerment is it's so important to have a mentor, because oftentimes we can really get stuck in our own fears, in our own concerns of all kinds of things. And so having a mentor is a way of making sure that we don't get stuck in those places of fear, that we need to just know how to move through so that they can become tools on our path.
Beautiful. Yeah. We can't do it alone. We're not meant to do it alone. And to have that guide who knows, who can see the bigger picture, who knows where to lead us, that's brilliant. Yeah.
Someone who's been there before, someone who's been through it, someone who can relate to you and have compassion for you and hold your hand and know what you're going through. That's so, so important.
Yes. You don't go climb Mount Everest without a Sherpa, your first thing. You don't just like, oh, let me just grab this person off the street to show me how to get to the top of Everest. You find someone who's familiar with the mountain and could do it with their eyes closed.
Exactly.
And so speaking of that, you are a mentor. I mean, you mentor women who are going through tough times when it comes to love. And so who are you most passionate about working with?
Who I'm most passionate about working with is single women. Single women of all ages, whether they've been married before or not, whether they have children or not. Women of all different cultures and creeds, all kinds of women who want that true love, who want the one, but don't know how to quite arrive to it, how to attract it, how to connect, how to create it, how to identify it. However, very recently, I had an inner guidance about opening up this specialty to women who are not single, women who are also in a relationship, or they're in a marriage, or they're going through a divorce, but they're not quite single yet. They're in the process. Because what I realize is everything that I teach my current single women clients are things that can really apply to women in relationships, in marriages, who are not happy, who have lost themselves, who have lost their self-worth, who don't know who they are anymore. It's because it all really comes back to that sense of worth or lack of.
Beautiful. So it's women who are looking for the one and are kind of lost in the world. Where do I find this person? How do I even identify them? And then women who are in a relationship but are finding that they're not fulfilled, they're not happy, something's missing.
They're not in love anymore, and they want to be in love. They want the one. The one is in front of them, but they don't feel that anymore.
Yeah. Sounds like that's the core theme, is it's women who want to be in love.
Yes.
Yeah, I love that.
Yes. Women who want to be truly and deeply in love beyond their wildest dreams. And to be treated like a real living goddess.
Yeah. Yeah. See, this, just a little side note tangent, is when you are transforming women's lives and supporting them in finding true love and that woman being fulfilled, I believe that is really transforming the planet, because women coming into their goddessness, so to speak, and coming into that fully lit up part of them really serves the world. That's something that it feels like that's something that's waking up. That's like this spark that's happening. I don't know. That's just my own little take on it, but I feel like what you're doing is massive.
I completely agree with you, because when a woman is still desperately searching for true love in a man, it's it also means that she's also desperately looking for true love within herself, which means that she's not quite connected to that true love with herself. And if she's not connected, that's very difficult to really be of service to others, to the planet, to humanity, because the major conversation for her is, how can I get true love? How can I get true love? How can I get this man to love me? Instead of, how can I serve? How can I share my gifts and wisdom?
Yeah. Yeah. And so I'm hearing some things in here about, it's like there's right ways to do it, wrong ways to do it, or at least, on the pathways and disillusioned ways. What are some of the biggest mistakes that women make when it comes to finding true love, or lack of finding true love?
I love this question. And I cannot tell you how many women I had to interview about their situation, about what they were struggling with, to start to hear a theme that women do that I see so clearly are just not working. So the number one thing is believing that you're not worth it. That's a big one. If you believe you're not worth it, then you're not going to give a time of day to someone who is right for you. Someone who will value you, because you feel like you can't get that because you're not worth it. And so you'll pay attention to men who will like you and want to be with you, but you will not be fulfilled with them. So in a way, it's like you'll just settle for less. And then you'll try to turn the guy into the one, which doesn't work, right? Another mistake that I see women making is leading with your sexual energy. If you're leading with your sexual energy, you are giving men interested in sex and that you don't have very much else to offer. And so what will happen is that you'll end up attracting men who don't really want to get to know you. But see, it's a dichotomy, because you're leading with your sexual energy as a way of trying to prove yourself that you're a good partner, yet you want true love. And so you have these competing intentions, and then you'll end up attracting the more surface a level connection, and then that'll leave you completely confused about, why don't they like me? And I hear this oftentimes. So sexual energy is not something to lead with, because sexual chemistry is not the most important thing in a relationship. You can have sexual chemistry with 10 people at a time. So it doesn't mean that they're all the one, right? And a lot of women make that mistake. They think, we have sexual chemistry, that must mean that he may be the one, but it's not. It's not true. Another mistake is being needy or attached to love, which blinds women from being able to see, as I was mentioning earlier, who's actually in front of them. And so they try to convince themselves that they're in love with someone who they're really not in love with, who they don't really even know very well, who maybe they're not even that compatible with. And so they're always wondering, could he be the one? Maybe he's going to be the father of my children. Oh, he said the right thing, or he did the right thing. Okay, maybe he's the one. Oh, he didn't say the right thing. Oh, wait, he's not the one. And there's this ongoing conversation of, he's the one, he's not the one, he's the one, he's not the one.
It's like that Dr. Seuss book, Are You My Mother? Are You My Mother?
Yes, exactly. And it's like, wait a second, if you're needy for love, you're needy for your own love, not somebody else's love, your love. And there's a disconnect there. So it's about finding that place inside love, so that you can then be the source of love for you and not be coming from a place of neediness, because a man can smell that a mile away, even if he's not considered conscious or spiritual or evolved or what have you. He can smell it, because men have intuition too. And a high quality man is going to see that and feel that, and he's going to instantly disqualify you as a potential life partner. I have two more.
Awesome.
So another mistake that I see is, which is kind of related to feeling like you're not worth it, is making him more important than you, as if he was, which he's not. Right. See, when we compromise our inner guidance and who we truly are for a man, that man eventually will end up losing respect for you. And eventually he'll see that he can't trust you because you're abandoning yourself for him.
Interesting.
And that just doesn't work, because a man needs to know that you're going to be honest, that you're going to call him on his stuff so that he knows he can grow with you. Otherwise, he'll know, and this is so mostly unconscious, he'll know that you'll get to a point of stagnation in which the relationship is not growing or going anywhere.
Yeah. You know, self-expression and passion and confidence in a woman is one of the most attractive qualities.
Yes. Yes, being yourself is a sexy thing for a man. A man doesn't care about your quirks, doesn't care if your teeth are not perfectly white. Okay, doesn't care if you don't wear makeup 24/7, what have you, whatever the concerns are of the woman. A man cares about if you're being real and authentic, and if you're being yourself, because that's the only way that he can really trust you and open up to you. See, men don't open up to women who are not themselves.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense.
Yeah. So to complete, this is a very, very common one, very popular one, unfortunately. And that is being jaded.
Being jaded.
Kind of like how I was. It's like having a lens, a pair of glasses on that say love doesn't exist, love doesn't exist, love doesn't exist. And when you see a relationship that works, the woman can be jealous of it. The woman can make up something about, how it's not going to work out because these other relationships that she's witnessed or that she's experienced haven't worked out. And so then she completely closes herself up to the possibility of even being in the presence of a high quality man, because she sees every man as just some guy who is going to screw her over or who is going to do something to betray her.
Wow.
But the thing is that the woman is the one betraying herself.
Yeah. Wow. Well, you have more to share on this, for a free report for the 5 biggest mistakes that women make that repel true love. So more on this topic, we are making available for you on businessheroinemagazine.com. So thank you, Gemini, for offering that to our community.
You're welcome.
Yeah.
It's a pleasure. I hope it really, really helps and makes you think twice about your own self-worth and your own radiance.
Yeah. And that's really where to start, is to see what is not working. And I'm dying to hear some examples of mistakes, but then come out on the other side.
So my first client example is somebody who was very needy and attached to love. And this is a very interesting story because I help women in learning how to attract and identify and sustain a relationship with the one. So this woman in her mid-20s, she always wanted to turn every single man into the one. I was always wondering, and I was trying to get him to call more or to tell her I love you more or to send her little notes or flowers. But the thing is that through our work together, she realized that she really wasn't ready for the one.
Oh, fascinating.
And that this idea of being attached to finding the one was really just social conditioning. That she thought that was what she was supposed to do. She was 25, she was finishing school, and she thought, okay, the next step in my life is to find a man, get married, have children, have a house and 2 cars. And so she was able to realize that she wasn't done dating. She wasn't done just being single and exploring herself and traveling and being her. And the thing about it is that even though she's not looking for the one, she's not thinking about the one anymore, this allows her to now be so completely present and real with herself about who she's really interested in. And she's really come into a place of acceptance of her connections with who she chooses to date. What I know, though, is that when she is ready for the one, I know with confidence that she'll know exactly what to do, because she has those foundational skills of being real and honest with herself, and of being connected to her true value to the degree that she doesn't have to try to turn somebody into her source of love or happiness.
Yeah, and taking that pressure off of I need the one now. It's like, wait, do I need the one now? That's
Yeah.
so, like, not even, stopping to think, is this my idea or is this society's idea that I've just bought into? And what's true for me? That's beautiful.
Exactly. And it was a surprise to me because at first I thought, oh my goodness, how am I supposed to help her find the one if she's not ready for it? And then I realized, you know what? I don't help people find the one. I help people prepare themselves for the one. So that when the one shows up, that woman knows exactly what to do, knows exactly how to be available to this man in ways that are empowering to her and to him, in ways that she won't lose herself.
Yeah. And isn't it Oprah's quote, something like luck is preparedness meets opportunity?
Yeah.
Because with finding the one, like there is sort of this, it's not like, I don't know, building a business where you can physically just take actions and make it exist. With finding and attracting love, there's kind of like some magical nature to that. Like, when are they going to land in your life, and where will you meet them, and will you know it's them?
Yes.
But they'll show up, it sounds like, when you are prepared and ready and available for it.
Exactly. When you have basically given up on chasing love, it will definitely show up. When you have turned yourself into the one.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, there you go. I love that. That's so cool.
That's when he shows up.
That's so cool.
But see, women try to do this sometimes when they're not really there, and it doesn't work.
It's like faking it.
No, you can't fake it. I mean, you're either there with yourself and you being the one for you, or you're simply not, and that's totally okay, because the journey of returning to your own love is so precious and beautiful. You wouldn't want to miss out on that.
Itself, and the finding the one is the just icing on the cake.
Oh, for sure, I won.
Yeah, that's cool.
Yes.
So, what are some ways that women who are looking for love work with you? Is it coaching? Tell us a bit more about what it's like to work with you and what services you offer.
Sure. Well, I've come a long way, and in my business, I've learned so much, and my business is constantly changing and evolving as I am. So how women can work with me is they fill out an assessment form, which is on my website, which asks a lot of really great questions, like where are you at with love now? What's your relationship status? What are your biggest challenges and blocks around love? What do you want instead, and why? How do you feel that would improve your life? Things like that. And oftentimes I hear from women that even just filling out the enlightening and clarifying about where they're at and what's been getting in the way for them. You fill out the assessment, I receive the assessment, I read it over, I invite you to my online calendar to book a free consultation so that we can talk about the possibility of us working together if I'm the right match for you. And if the free consultation goes well and we feel like we're a match, then I'll invite you to come and do a first session with me. And at the end of that first session, if we both feel that we're a good match to work together on your relationship goals, then we talk about working together on a regular basis. And usually I work with people anywhere between 3 to 9 months. So it's not very long. It's pretty short. Sometimes people only see me twice a month. After they've sort of graduated through the initial rite of passage of kind of getting through their biggest, things. And, that's pretty much what I offer now, is that constant, consistent support for a short period of time.
Yeah, short period, results focused. I think that's great. And I hope that everybody tuning in takes advantage of that, because that's a very generous offer. You can get this assessment for free, which just going through that process, like you said, can be really transformative. And then a free consultation. Awesome. And we'll be sure to have links to all of that for you, so you can get some Gemini in person. So that's awesome. So, Gemini, before I let you go, do you have any final words that you would like to share with women about love?
I do. What I can say to you, and I mean you, all the women listening, all the women watching, what I want to say to you specifically is that you are worth so much more than gold. And your love and your light is so precious and so needed on the planet right now. And so me and all the men and all the rest of the women on this planet alive, we need your light. We need you to show love in your own radiance so that we can better serve you and so that you can better attract that true love that you're looking for, because you deserve it and you are destined. You were born for true love. You were born to have it, and there's just no way around that.
That's so beautiful. Thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you so much for inviting me to come and have a chat with you today.
It was our pleasure. I mean, it's just awesome. I love highlighting women like you who are doing amazing things with business to just create your own path and to really make a difference in the world in the way that you uniquely are qualified to do because of your own journey. And it's just so inspiring. So thank you so much for sharing your wisdom with us today. And for those of you tuning in, to get more of Gemini Ferrie, go to businessheroinemagazine.com, and we will make sure we have all those links so you can get in touch with her and get your free session and your free consultation and the free 5 mistakes report. So lots of goodies for you there. And we will see you next time.
Beautiful. Ciao.
Ciao.
You have been watching Business Heroine TV for the entrepreneur who says she will and does. We hope you enjoyed the show. Be sure to check out what's new at businessheroinemagazine.com today.